John Deere is moving some production from Iowa to Mexico. The company is acquiring land there to build a facility that will be operational by 2026.
What happens when an American icon stands up to a former president? John Deere just delivered a major blow to Donald Trump, and he's not taking it well. The legendary tractor company made a business decision that left Trump furious, sparking threats of massive tariffs and fiery accusations. But instead of backing down, John Deere stood its ground and wiped the floor with him. Could this battle reshape the farming industry? And will Trump's retaliation backfire? Let's break it all down. John Deere's big move. For decades, John Deere has been the go-to brand for American farmers, symbolizing innovation and reliability. But the company recently made a strategic decision that sent shockwaves through the political and agricultural world. It announced a major expansion outside the United States. To John Deere, this was a smart business move. Expanding operations overseas would lower costs, access new markets, and ensure long-term growth. But to Trump, it was a betrayal. He had built his political brand on keeping American manufacturing at home, and seeing a company like John Deere expand globally was a direct challenge to his economic vision. The moment this news broke, a political firestorm erupted. Trump and his supporters, many of whom are farmers, saw this as a slap in the face. Meanwhile, business experts and economists argue that Deere was simply doing what any global company must do to stay competitive. So, who's right? And what happens next? Trump's retaliation. Never one to back down from a fight, Trump responded in classic fashion by threatening a massive 200% tariff on any John Deere products manufactured overseas. His goal? To make it financially impossible for Deere to profit from its global expansion and force them to keep all operations in the U.S., he framed the move as a bold stand against corporate greed, arguing that American companies should be loyal to American workers, not just their bottom line. At his rallies, Trump didn't hold back. He called John Deere disloyal and accused them of betraying the American workforce for cheap foreign labor. He warned other companies that outsourcing jobs would come at a steep price, making it clear that under his leadership, offshoring would no longer be a profitable strategy. His speeches were filled with promises to punish corporations that took jobs overseas, vowing to bring manufacturing back home no matter what it took. But there was just one problem. John Deere wasn't backing down. Instead of retreating, the company doubled down on its international strategy, setting the stage for an all-out economic showdown. John Deere's response. Rather than retreating, John Deere doubled down. The company stood by its decision, refusing to let political pressure dictate its business strategy. Executives made it clear. This expansion was a long-term move to stay ahead in a competitive market. Trump escalated his attacks, urging farmers to boycott John Deere and switch to competitors like Kubota or New Holland. However, Deere wasn't just thinking about today's politics. It was playing the long game, focusing on global demand, cost efficiency, and future market expansion. This standoff revealed a fundamental clash between Trump's America First policies and the economic realities of global business. But while the political battle raged on, farmers found themselves caught in the middle. Loyalty to Trump or John Deere. American farmers rely on John Deere for their tractors, combines, and other essential equipment. But many are also Trump's strongest supporters. This put them in a tough position. Should they stand with Trump and reject John Deere, or stick with the brand they've trusted for generations? For some, the choice was clear. Feeling betrayed by Deere's move, they immediately sided with Trump, arguing that American companies should prioritize American workers over global profits. They vowed to switch to competitors like Case IH or Kubota, even if it meant changing the equipment they had relied on for decades. At Trump's rallies, these farmers were vocal, calling for boycotts and urging others to support brands that kept jobs in the U.S. Others, however, saw the situation differently. To them, Deere's expansion was a necessary step for survival in an increasingly competitive global market. They feared that if Trump's tariffs went through, the price of farm equipment would skyrocket, pushing struggling farmers even closer to the edge. Many pointed out that modern agriculture depended on cutting-edge technology, and few brands could match John Deere's innovation and reliability. As the battle heated up, it became clear that the fight between Trump and John Deere wasn't just about one company, it was about the future of American farming. Would the industry adapt to global competition, or would protectionist policies reshape the market? The stakes had never been higher, and for many farmers, the consequences of this standoff were becoming all too real. Who pays the price? If Trump's tariffs go into effect, John Deere won't absorb those costs. They'll pass them on to consumers. That means higher prices for farmers who are already struggling with rising fuel costs, unpredictable weather, and market instability. History has shown that trade wars often backfire. When Trump imposed tariffs on steel and aluminum in 2018, it led to increased costs for American manufacturers and higher prices for consumers. If the same thing happens here, it won't just hurt John Deere. It could cripple small and mid-sized farms across the country. Instead of forcing John Deere to bring jobs back, Trump's policies might actually push them to expand globally even faster. If doing business in the U.S. becomes too expensive, more companies could follow Deere's lead, shifting operations overseas to stay competitive. Wall Street's reaction. While Trump's base cheered his tough stance, Wall Street had a different take. Investors care about one thing: profitability. And from their perspective, John Deere's global expansion made financial sense. The company's stock became volatile as traders weighed the risks of political backlash against the benefits of lower production costs and access to new markets. Some saw Deere's move as smart, allowing them to outmaneuver foreign competitors. Others worried that angering Trump's base could damage the company's brand in rural America. But one thing was clear: this wasn't just about John Deere. It was a sign of a bigger issue in American manufacturing. Can Trump actually bring jobs back, or is he fighting against an economic reality that's impossible to reverse? Can Trump really revive American manufacturing? Trump's promise to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. has been a key part of his political message. But is it realistic? Companies are not just moving overseas to save money. They are adapting to a global economy where production, trade, and demand span multiple countries. In today's interconnected world, supply chains are more complex than ever, and businesses must compete on a global scale to remain profitable. John Deere's fight with Trump is just one example of a larger trend. Other industries, from automotive to technology, face the same pressures. Major car manufacturers like Ford and General Motors have long balanced domestic production with international expansion, while tech giants such as Apple rely heavily on overseas manufacturing for their products. Even industries once considered firmly American, like steel and energy, now depend on foreign markets and suppliers to maintain efficiency and competitiveness. If tariffs and economic nationalism continue to create instability, more companies may choose to diversify away from the U.S. rather than risk sudden policy shifts. Businesses crave predictability, and constant political battles over trade and manufacturing policies could push corporations to seek safer, more stable environments. Some experts warn that an aggressive America-first approach could backfire, weakening domestic industries rather than strengthening them. Who really won? Trump tried to strong-arm John Deere into keeping operations in the U.S., but the company refused to budge. In the short term, Trump's base may support his tough rhetoric, but in the long run, economic realities will dictate the outcome. Will farmers continue to support Trump, even if it means paying more for their equipment? Will John Deere's expansion strategy pay off? And could this fight signal a bigger shift in how American businesses navigate global markets? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: John Deere isn't backing down, and Trump isn't happy about it. If you found this breakdown interesting, make sure to subscribe for more in-depth analysis on the biggest political and economic battles shaping our world. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more.